Hey, hey, revolutionaries! By the power of the magic of Eternia, Club Eternia, that is, lo and behold, what came in from UPS today but the Masters of the Universe Classics Vikor figure. I know, I just uploaded the game day video. I mean, he just went on sale this morning, and thanks to the Club Eternia, Vikor, you know, it's not like Merman or Hero or Wondar or He-Man. It's Vikor, Conan. As I said with the Wondar figure and that two-part lovely video, woo, easy does it. And that lovely two-part video when it went on and on about the mysteries of Wondar and his actual origin. Did actually make a point of saying that Mattel was originally approached from the creators of Conan to come up with the action figure line. And it's something where they came up with various art concepts, various presentations for Conan, and turns out that for whatever reason the deal fell through. You know, if you want to hear more about what happened with that story, go back and watch that Wondar Part 1 video. It talks a lot about the lawsuit and what happened between the creators of Conan Comics and Mattel and He-Man, and how the most powerful man in the universe may not have actually ever existed had there not been a court ruling in their favor. But the power of Grayskull, Vikor, He-Man of the North, based on the original concept art of the character He-Man, this really shows you what it was that they were doing early on. Now, again, whether or not this was... it's going to be hard. I got to get him out of the pack, but looking at this and saying that this was not a shot at Conan, I don't know what else you can call it. I mean, I can see where the Conan folks had a real, genuine, had a good argument. You know, they don't show He-Man here on the back anywhere, but looking at this figure versus what ultimately became He-Man, yeah, there's a legal distinction between the two, but you can really see where they were taking the concept art and where it came from. So kind of nifty if you follow the He-Man, if you follow the Masters of the Universe, the chronological story of how the He-Man line, how the Masters of the Universe line actually came to be. Yeah, it was originally kind of supposed to be well, it started as a licensing deal with Conan, and eventually became became their own property that was very similar. And enough of that. On the back, we have, of course, the three characters, kind of pre-Eternian characters. King Grayskull, who already came out. Here's Vikor, whatever. The Goddess, who made her appearance this month instead of Evelyn. Sure, everybody read about that. Hero, and you see Hero, Zodak, and Wondar. See, Wondar. Got the hyphen in it. There's no hyphen in it. It's not Vikor, it's Vikor. So we'll call him Vikor. Hopefully I'm getting that right. Now, Wondar is the bonus figure from the Club Eternia last year. It's kind of a tease to put him on the back of a card like this, unless they plan on re-releasing him at some point. But for Vikor, real name Vikor, shortly after King Grayskull's death, Vikor, a great warrior from the north, was chosen by the goddess to help protect the sword of He, while all of Eternia waited for the true heir to be born. Already a master of the battle axe, Vikor's legend soon spread across Eternia as he quested to vanquish evil, battling the remaining renegade snakemen and defending the valley of Gnal from the fighting foemen. Fing Fang Foom. Although his time as He-Man was relatively short, his contribution to the legend will never be forgotten in the greatest achievements of Eternia. I didn't know about him. And actually, there's never been a mini comic with him. This is pretty much an original figure based solely off the original artwork. So, enough yammering about that. Let's go ahead and get Vikor open. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed when I was kind of playing with it, but the packaging is all the same, has the Power of Grayskull sticker. But just like with the King Grayskull, on the side, no air holes here, but twice as many here. So, see? I didn't know if you noticed that before, but apparently there is some changes going on with the packaging. Something little, but I wanted to point it out. Okay, stick around, guys. We'll be right back. Who is this guy? I know the back of the card in the bio tells us, he was from the north and he got the Sword of He after King Grayskull. And I know that he's based on the early concept drawings of He-Man, which, when you look at this, I don't think there's any doubt was mostly from Conan inspired, no doubt. But really, there's things on this character that I would there's one thing on the character in particular that I would really like to know more about. And that is, when you look at the shackles that he's wearing, the wristbands with the broken chain, real die-cast metal. The fact that he still wears these chains hanging from his wrist, these shackles, I kind of wonder, what is the story behind this guy? Where was he? What was going on? He got the Sword of He just after King Grayskull died. He obviously was around. They may have fought side by side. So, who made the choice to give him the Sword of He? Why is he wearing these shackles? Could he have been... Maybe he and Grayskull didn't necessarily get along, but had a kind of a mutual rivalry and mutual respect. Was he a prisoner of at some point? What is the story behind this guy? These wristbands, these shackles, just these by themselves, and they are shackles. You can see the locks on them, and of course the chain hanging down. These shackles are just a really wonderful kind of hint at a story. As a matter of fact, look underneath, you can see the hinge there. A hint at a story that I hope we get to hear. I really hope that at some point, whatever big kind of background Mattel keeps saying is actually there, we get to learn about, because this, very intriguing, very interesting. Now, as I did mention, there's clearly a similarity between this and the Conan that we see from the comic books. I think the only other way that you could really not see this as a Conan figure is if someone, say like NECA, with Schwarzenegger's face sculpt, actually did a Conan figure. Maybe they have. I don't remember. But otherwise, yeah, as far as a comic rendition, this is probably as close to a Conan as I think anybody would get. And as a Conan fan, if you're a Conan fan, this is a fair enough figure to get. I think he's still available as of right now, too, because it's just later in the day. But if you're a Conan fan and you don't necessarily care about the Masters of the Universe, I would still say this is a great figure to pick up, because there's nothing on him directly that looks, other than the fact they've reused parts and brought him into the Master Universe Classic series by reusing parts. There's not a whole lot of iconic things on him that would make you feel like, oh, he's just a figure from He-Man. No, he is pretty standalone, and that makes him unique, and that's appreciated both from a Conan perspective and as a Master Universe Classic fan, and that's why I like to see more original characters, see some new original stuff. Looks really cool. I love on the face, a completely original face sculpt, and a really good one too. He's got his jowls on there, and you see the sculpture on the cheeks, the strong chin. And this is obviously a guy who's lived in some pretty harsh conditions. This is one of the better face sculpts I think I've seen, and one of my favorites. I really like the way the face turned out on this one. The hair, pretty basic, nothing to hurrah about. The helmet, again, pretty basic. It does the job. There's some pits and some, slashes. Looks like it's seen its fair share of battle. So, again, appreciate it. His cape. Now, this goes back to kind of the brown cape, more like what the original King Grayskull had, and some bones around the front. It's not actually attached to him. It's not actually like affixed, like a Master or like a DC character would be. but it is very tight on his body. And it doesn't really shake around a whole lot. So for anybody who was getting a little sick, I know I was, of the capes from about Keldor on, those capes just kind of flapping around, this actually is much, much better. As I was saying, on the body, it's really just a reuse of the He-Man body. Nothing tremendously new. They did go ahead and instead of doing like with Hordak, where the armband was just kind of a piece slid on, looks like they actually have sculpted it on there. Also, for his loincloth, which has the nice kind of rips and wear in it, it actually is sculpted onto the front of the shaggy shorts. It's not just a piece that's kind of on top of it. So it's actually part of the shorts themselves. And he's even got kind of these gold coins, these brass, I don't know what you want to call them, there as well. And again, it just sort of separates him out from the other Master Universe characters. Certainly gives him a place more in pre-Eternia than, the current Man-at-Arms and Prince Adam times. On the legs, nice paint on the legs. One thing that I think some people have already pointed out is if you look at the ankles, and you can really see it on this side, you can kind of see where the ankle hole would be, where the peg fit in. Well, they actually went ahead and sculpted this as a solid piece. And that's to go ahead and make sure that the loose ankles that were starting to plague this particular kind of foot design actually got fixed. And now he has a totally new problem, at least on this figure, where it's just really, really tight. He stands fine, so that problem, I'll take that one over the loose ankles. But yeah, it's one of the things where I may have to heat him up if I want to get those ankles to move, which I probably won't do. On his articulation, now the head does go left and right. There is a little bit of an up and down, not a whole lot. And I actually wanted to see if I take the head off, to see if I take the cape off. But the head doesn't really pop off very well. I still haven't got it to come off yet, and I'm not going to push it. I'm happy with him as he is. The arms come up and out, twist at the shoulder, bicep, elbow, and wrist, and of course the very intriguing shackles. Torso does have the crunch. Let's see if we can get the crunch. There we go. Twist of the waist, top of the thigh, leg comes up, out, top of the thigh as I mentioned, knee, and at the foot. Already talked about the ankle. Now, as any good He-Man, Vikor, whatever, does come with 3 accessories. His sword, which is not a completely silver sword. You can kind of see around the detailing near the hilt, there is kind of this brownish, rusty kind of color, almost like the color that's on the gem or whatever you may say, the decoration. It's not like your standard Sword of Power. It's not like the standard Sword of He. So if this is supposed to be the Sword of He, I would like to kind of think that the sword kind of can take on the form of or the shape of, a weapon appropriate to whoever is wielding it. So this could be the Sword of He in the form that best suits this particular He-Man. We've seen a lot of Swords of Power, and the idea of saying that he did get the sword after King Grayskull, and the idea that it changed forms at his touch to mimic a weapon that he would fit, or would fit for him. Again, nice part of the story. I would like to think that's what that is. Now, underneath the cape, he does have a strap where the sword does fit in, which is very cool. I think any of the Master Universe figures really need to start having, places where their weapons will be held. That's almost a must for me now. Battle axe. Big fan of the battle axe, and much like the sword, up here at the top, up at the top, you can kind of see again there's like some rust there at the inside part of the blades. And the same kind of green on the handles. Always a big fan of the battle axe, particularly He-Man and the like. Just kind of like wielding it with a single hand. If I can get it into his hand. Ooh, tight grip. There we go. Kung Fu grip. There we go. And then lastly, his shield. Again, every He-Man has to have a shield. And I'm not too sure how I feel about this kind of pointy part. It's something where I think if they had left it out and just made it kind of a flat shield, even if they had reused like Optics shield with a little bit of resculpting on it, yeah, I would have been happy with that too. But such as it is a He-Man, and so the sword, shield, and axe required for any kind of He-Man. If you do go ahead and tape down the sides of the stand that came in the box, and you have the room for it, you do, of course, have the great display for the newest Master Universe Classic figure. I definitely like this guy. I think he's very cool. Makes me kind of rethink what the bonus figure this month or this year is going to be like. The future He-Man, the time-traveling He-Man. Have to wait and see. I didn't think I was going to like him as much as I do, but I have to give Vikor, I got to give him pretty good marks. He is actually pretty awesome. Certainly thank everybody for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, join the revolution. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.